and this is my presentation on student engagement and motivation professional development. How student motivation can enhance academic performance. One theory that can be applied is the behavioral theory. This kind of means that a class can earn a homework-free day after 100% is completed. This will motivate the students to complete their homework and complete their work. Another theory that can be applied is the constructivism theory. This is when classmates help other classmates, or like a higher level student will help a lower level student. This will motivate that higher level student to work hard so they are able to help the lower level student. And it can also get the lower level student to work hard because they want to be able to match the higher level student. Intrinsic motivation. That is when a student does an activity because they like what they're doing, they find it enjoyable or challenging. It's not because they want a reward out of it, or they don't want to be punished. A good example is a student who stays after class to write short stories because they like writing and they want to improve their writing skills and explore different characters in their writing. Extrinsic motivation, that's when a student is driven by reward or punishment. It's usually during a task that the student doesn't want to do. They do the task to avoid being punished or because they seek that reward. An example is a student that studies hard and gets good grades because their parents praise them. If the parents' praise stops, the student's motivation will probably go down and the student will probably lose interest in getting good grades. How students' motivation engagement depend on and support one another. Student motivation and engagement support one another because motivation shapes the effort and goals, while engagement sustains learning activities and build competence. Motivation prompts goal setting, and engagement provides evidence of the goal progress. Sustaining motivation. Motivation encourages risk-taking, and engagement will help recover from the failure when sometimes the risks don't go through. It also preserves that motivation. Motivation drives choice and persistence. Engagement will build habits and making future motivation easier. What affects students' motivation? There's a lot of things, but some key things that will affect student motivations are their teachers, their parents, the relationships they have with fellow students, and how the classroom is structured. An example is if a student has a different learning style from others and their supports are not being given, then their motivation probably won't be as high as other students who are given those supports. They want to feel valued and seen if they have certain learning struggles, and they want to be able to complete the assignments and participate in lessons. And when they aren't given those supports, they're not able to, so they lose interest. Another example is when parents show interest in their child's school day, that will make the student want to do stuff or participate to have something to talk about with their parents. What affects students' engagement? Student engagement is affected by things such as classroom management, their own motivation, and how diverse, equity, and inclusion is supported. Some students feel kind of like an outcast. If you're able to include that student's culture or their learning style, then they'll want to engage in classroom conversation more. An example is a small group discussion can support the increase in participation. It allows all the students to get something in to say. Another one is setting clear goals that can help students focus. Research-based instructional activity. Problem solving mini-based activities. Place a student in small groups and have them choose from real classroom or school class problems. Have the student research on what causes the issue, and then have them create a solution. This will provide real-world relevance and collaborative roles. The second research-based instructional activity. Students will create rough drafts of writing assignments and then get into partners. Each pair will then give positive feedback or constructive criticism. This activity will help students be open and comfortable with constructive feedback, as well as strengthening their peer relationships. The third research-based instructional activity, personal quick writes. Students will write a paragraph connecting the concept of the lesson to their own personal lives. This will encourage students to create their own relevance and build the ability to differentiate from options. How teacher effectiveness affects student motivation. Giving students a small task to complete before bigger tasks will help them gain confidence because they know they'll be able to succeed on the learning tasks that they are given. You slowly move up the ladder, you start with small stuff and go bigger, and they'll over time be able to see that they're able to achieve each step. Assisting the students in creating a meaningful goal. This will show students on how to value their learning experience. If it's something they think that they need to work on themselves, it'll have them want to work harder because it's something that means something to them. Give students their own voice and choice, which will allow them to feel more connected to the process during the lesson. How teacher effectiveness affects students' engagement. Build your classroom into a supportive environment. This will allow students to be comfortable speaking up without fear of creating conflict. Move towards classroom discussion, hands-on projects, and group assignments. It is good to always let the students be involved in the lesson, whether it's creating small groups or being able to have voices during lessons. Increasing classroom culture, sharing experience and language can help students feel more accepted and comfortable to share their own experience. As I stated before, some students feel like outcasts because they have different cultures. If you're able to incorporate that culture in the classroom, then they'll be more comfortable in sharing with the teacher. How teacher effectiveness affects students' learning. Using different teaching methods may have students in a way always on their toes and make learning more excited. If you do the same type of lesson or do the lesson the same way every day, students are going to lose interest. But if they go into the class and they see something completely different, they're going to always show interest in learning. Even if the lesson's the same, you can do different approaches. For most student learning, this will ensure students are taking the lesson to be able to properly display what they know. Teach them the lesson first and have them teach you the lesson back. That way the student can display what they know and they're able to physically see that they are paying attention in the learning. And if they miss something, then you can always go back and reteach it. Include educational games. These games will make lessons more enjoyable and rewarding to students. Kahoots are always fun. You can create Jeopardy games as well. Thank you for joining me in this presentation, and here are my resources.